Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is about a 5-day 1250 kilometers ride from Da Nang, the center of Vietnam, through to the capital Hanoi. We landed at Da Nang, checked in, and straight made our way to Tigit motorcycles. We were picking up these Honda XR150s. We chose this bike because it was appropriate for Vietnam, light, nimble, good in traffic, as well as having a substantial amount of suspension travel. We checked out some beautiful sights around Da Nang, then got a beer and dinner while we got to know each other better. This was the first time I had met Robin. Day one started bright and early after a nice breakfast, and we were ready to hit the road. After about an hour, we stopped at a nice coffee shop to check if our luggage was still strapped on tight, comfortable with the bike, cameras all positioned correctly, etc. And generally checked out the scene while the boys got a nice little chill. After some spectacular riding, we stopped for lunch because we'd been warned about lunch being early in Vietnam, especially outside the main cities. It was between 11 and 12:30. So we had a nice little lunch and then we were back on our way. And that was our day one, almost 300 kilometers of riding. We checked into Hills Hotel in Khe Sanh, where they gave us nice, clean, safe parking. Headed out to town and, inspired by the sign, got a few beers, a lovely dinner, and then called it a night. Day two began early with the quest for coffee and a lot of fog.
Foggy morning in Khe Sanh, Vietnam. Up in the mountains, looking to head out to Hong Nha in about half hour.
We headed out looking for breakfast, especially the bun chow and the varieties of bread that we'd seen pictures of, but that's not to be found, and we ended up in a local place with some lovely pho, and we were on our way again.
So we're about 50 kilometers from Kisan on the way to Phong Nha. We're on what's called the Ho Chi Minh Road. And it's about 150 to 200 kilometers of single lane twisties. This is the road basically. That's the width, about 8 feet or so. Views are just fabulous. We'll wait for these guys to take a pee and we take a picture.
The XR150 performed really well through this tour of ours, with the exception of situations like this where high, steep inclines, it ran out of a little bit of power there. But that's primarily because of, I guess, us being used to much more powerful motorcycles back home. We got top speeds of just about 100 kilometers an hour, 101 kilometers an hour on the XR150, which is about, I'd say about 60 miles an hour or so. Overall, I think it was an appropriate decision to go with it. After some spectacular riding and beautiful locales, we rolled into the town of Phong Nha. Our stop for the night was going to be the karst villas that we rolled into after finishing a spectacular ride of about 250 kilometers.
So reached Karst Villas in Phong Nha. Very nice place. Vietnamese seems like a really nice place, but unfortunately we don't have time to do too much of tourism. But we decided to just relax, enjoy ourselves today, hang by the pool and have a few beers and lunch/dinner.
So staying at Karst Villas instead of staying in the middle of Hong Nha was actually a very good decision. We got a lot of peace, quiet, beautiful surroundings, great service, very high quality food, and the owner helped us a lot with his tips. So after a nice breakfast, we were locked and loaded and ready to hit the road. So after a quick coffee break, we hit the roads again, and I must say that the section of our tour between Phong Nha and Huang Mai was undoubtedly the most beautiful, absolutely captivating, hardly any traffic, free roads. Just loved the section, very relaxing and enjoyable. This particular stretch was fabulous. Beautiful locales on either sides, beautiful views, and an absolutely straight section. Wide, and allowed me to play around a little bit with, one hand holding my Insta360, allowing me to give you these visuals.
Say hi, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Back on the road after a great meal, but a good time to give fair warning to all the vegetarians out there that you're going to find it tough in Vietnam once you're out of the main cities to get vegetarian food. So it's a good idea for you to carry some stuff that you can have on the road when you're on tour. But also wanted to let everybody know that it's very inexpensive to eat and drink and make merry in Vietnam. Costs were less than about $20 for a meal and a few beers for the three of us. So after a long 320 kilometers, we were in Huang Mai to enjoy what the city had to offer us, which was pretty interesting stuff. We explored some and then sat down for dinner.
There you go. Nice place. Yeah.
Pretty place. No beer though.
No. That's a deal breaker.
That's a deal breaker.
That is a deal breaker.
Agreed.
One of the things that was very interesting for us throughout this store was that many places had their shop fronts right outside their houses. It had been set up so that they have their home behind, and they had either a restaurant or a coffee shop or something like that. And they would invite us into their home and would use their toilets within their house itself. It was very, in that sense, intimate and very cool. And like Thailand, Vietnam is also not a nanny state, and we didn't find any, speed traps or radars, or actually we didn't see one police car on this entire tour till we got into the large cities. This is about when the weather started to turn and brought us two of the craziest days that we had on the store. From blue, clear skies to we started seeing cloudy skies up ahead, and we were keeping our fingers crossed. As we started getting closer to the mountains, we felt the first drops of rain, and as you can imagine, it got worse and the temperature dropped considerably as well. And this is when we made a call that we will not go ahead as planned into the mountains and then Hanoi tomorrow, but rather head to Ninh Binh, which is getting into the plains, and then do a shorter run to Hanoi. None of us had rain protection, so we dried our clothes and boots and headed out to explore Ninh Binh. Beautiful little place. Got a taste of culture watching these guys play, and then sampled some of the local food before we settled up for dinner. Day 5, only 100 kilometers, but we were greeted with pouring rain. We needed to make an executive call in terms of whether we go ahead in the rain or wait it out. We didn't have too many options because Suresh and I had flights to catch that afternoon. So we said, let's hit it, let's go through the rain and get to Hanoi and return the bikes in time so we can make our flight. And we finally got into Hanoi after massive rains and really cold weathers. Big props to Robin and Suresh for navigating Hanoi traffic like a local. And that was it. 1,250 kilometers over 5 days of spectacular riding and great experiences with great fellow travelers. So Vietnam is a pretty long country. It's about 2,700 kilometers from the capital Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City in the south, which is the commercial capital. The halfway point is Da Nang, the natural halfway point of a ride. For a full ride from south to north or north to south, you'd need about 15 odd days. And if you were to do only part of it, which is either north to the center or the south to the center, you'd need a minimum of 5 to 6 days. That is without tourism. There's a lot of sites to see, a lot of experiences that you can go through. So it's highly recommended for you to plan for 2 to 3 days more to really experience the country, the countryside, the people, and the local way of life. From the perspective of food, it's heavily biased towards meat, and it is going to be a little difficult for vegetarians to manage. As long as you eat eggs, I think you'll be okay with egg fried rice and a good breakfast in the morning. But besides that, it's going to be a little tough. The beer is light. All the beers that we sampled, which is pretty much everything that's available in Vietnam, was light, and we were polishing off 3-4 of those every evening without a problem the next morning. I hope this has been of use to you, and thank you so much for watching.